home again, jiggity jig. And what a jig it was. The Mountain Mama Tour 2025 has come to its glorious conclusion. Fun was had, memories were made, tears were shed. But tour's over, I'm back home in LA and I'm pretty stoked about it. Can't wait to tell you guys all the stories that I have from, I'll say it, the most beautiful tour I've ever done. That's for damn sure. Man, I saw some places and I did some things. And now Daddy's home. The following podcast contains lasers that may trigger seizures in photosensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. This is Laser Show.
Pump up the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume, dance, dance. Brio, brio, yeah. Brio, brio, yeah. Brio, brio, yeah. Brio, brio, yeah.
Good morrow, my lambs. Episode 43 of Laser Show, in your ears. In the airwaves and in your ears. I am your host, Gucci Greatness, the Fabergé Fiend, Guac Daddy, Dr. Drip, one-time employee of the month, three-time employee of the week, and second alderman of the 3rd Ward of Cass County, Missouri, Ryan O'Flanagan. Welcome to another episode of Laser Show, episode 43. Your boy just got back home today from a little comedy tour. My Mountain Mama Tour. Boy, did I see some mountains. If you're a regular listener of this show, you may remember we left off. I was fearing for my life, recording an episode 42 in a Super 8 motel in Green River, Utah. Oh, it seems like a lifetime ago. I was so young. I hadn't but a pube to my name, nor my mouth. But now here I am, a grown man, mouth full of pubes. But I will spit them out to tell you all these tales. I did make a couple of notes in my phone to remember to tell my laser heads a couple of things I forgot to tell you in the last episode. So my last episode, I went to Spokane, I went to Missoula, I went to Idaho Falls, and I went to Boise. Did some stand-up in all those shows. Some shows were fine, some shows were even good. I wouldn't call a single one of those shows great. But yeah, they were pretty good. But two things I wanted to tell you guys that are very important. That I remember I started telling and then I forgot. And then when I was editing the episode, I was like, oh shit, I forgot to say that. To finish that story. So when I did stand up in Boise on August the 14th, it was my glorious return to Boise after a real mishap last time I was there. Not getting paid. These two goddamn Mormons came at me and made sure that I didn't get paid for my show because I was swearing. And that was about a year and a half ago. And then a girl came to this Boise show, and she worked at the venue where my last Boise show was. That didn't pay me. And she comes to this show and goes, hey, we were DMing. I was trying to get my money back. Yes, I remember you. Yeah, we were DMing. I was like, please tell your employers. Because she was at that show and she had a good time. She goes, so sorry they're not paying you. I'll see what information I can find out. Things kind of went dark. But then she came to this show in Boise, and she told me something very important, folks. If you've been following, I don't want to recap the whole saga with my last 2024 Boise show, which was their very last comedy show this venue ever did. The Sapphire Lounge. I hope they burn to the ground. Fuck that place. Some sort of a jazz club under a hotel. And I hate them. And but I got some sick intel that really changes. It really changes the whole story. So this girl really tells me, guess what? Yeah, that was crazy last time you were in town. Hopefully you get paid for this show. And she goes, because, folks, one thing I will tell you is, in case you are not familiar with the story, I had some local comics open for me, one of whom was a trans woman who was very, very funny, but very, very dirty. And this was supposed to be a mostly clean show, which I forgot to tell the comics until they were about to go on stage. That's my bad. But then this trans comic goes up, absolutely crushes, but there was a mother with 2 little kids there, and they like left, and that was like a whole to-do. People were like, oh my God, people are leaving. Yeah, well, don't bring your little kids to a comedy show. What are you doing? So then, then I went up and was like, hey, I am glad that woman is not here with her kids. I feel a little bit more loose. And that was part of the email from the club. And then Ryan went up and he said, thank God that woman's not here. Yeah, I was glad she wasn't there. She had 2 little kids. I don't want to do any of my jokes. Even my clean jokes, they're not going to get. You know why? Because they're kids. They know like 19 words. But anyway, so the employee of that venue came to this show in Boise, much cooler venue, and told me, they weren't even really upset with you. It was really about that trans comic that they were mostly upset about. Well, I was the one who didn't get paid, and I paid the other comics. What the hell? So this whole time, I've been thinking these Mormons that complained and this venue that didn't pay me, I thought everyone was mad at me. This girl's like, they didn't mind you at all. They were mostly upset about that trans woman. And you know why? Because the Mormons and a lot of Idahoans are full-blown bigots. It's not a friendly place to be trans or to be any sort of minority. Fucking sucks up there. Get out of there if you're up there. I'm sorry. There's more Mormons in Idaho, I've heard, than in Utah. I don't know if that's true. That seems a little crazy. But who knows? Either way, they both suck. There'll be more Mormons to come later. Don't worry about it. But I want to tell you that story. And also, on the way to that show, I drove to Boise from Idaho Falls, which is a 4-hour drive through the middle of nowhere. It's the worst drive of this whole trip. It's mind-numbing. You wouldn't believe. Southern Idaho it's one of the worst parts of the country, I will say. Just as far as driving through. If you're looking to get some peace and quiet, one of the best parts in the country, for sure. But it's ugly. It's so ugly. And, but I was driving through this vast nothingness and bullshit. And I forgot to tell you guys, I saw a dead cow on the side of the road. Dead cow looked like, I assume it had been hit by a car because it was on the side of the road. And it was on its back. And I'm sorry this is sad, but I just never thought that I would ever see something like this. It was like on its back. And its legs were just like straight up in the air, like rigor mortis, I guess. Or maybe that's the only way that their legs can go. Its head was a bit in a ditch. It had some big, you could see like some flesh. So I think it had been there for a while. There's no easy way to get a dead cow out of the side of the road. There were some people milling about though, out on the side of the road. So I assume it was there. They were coming to go get it. So it wasn't just like rotting sadly on the side of the road I think it was for a while, but when I drove by, I was going about 70 miles an hour. It's one of those long stretches of just 2-lane highway. And there was a guy behind me. I wanted to stop and take a picture, but that's okay that I didn't. It's okay that I didn't get the picture of the dead cow on the side of the road. But I want you guys to know that when a cow dies and it goes on its back, all of its legs just go straight up in the air. From a distance, I thought it was like a fake yard decoration of a cow that had blown over. And then when I got closer, I was like, oh my God, that's an actual dead cow. And they are huge. It was like the size of my car. Anyway, I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that. So if you I know it's a terrible story, but I want you guys to know me, and I want you guys to know the reasons behind the hauntedness in my eyes all the time. Why are you being so pensive? What are you thinking about? What has happened in your life? Lots of terrible things have happened in my life. I drove right by a stinky dead cow. But anyway, so then I finished Idaho and the shows, and then last we left off, I was in a hotel, a Super 8 motel in Green River, Utah, which is in eastern Utah. And eastern Utah and western Colorado, that region, they love dinosaurs. And there's a lot of signs for come see some fossils. I never did see any. I guess I did see some fossils on the trip. I went to a museum. I'll tell you about that in a bit. But the next day I have a show in Grand Junction, Colorado. Grand Junction is in western Colorado. A lot of people were telling me, hey, be careful. It's very, very much meth out there. Very much meth. Which, great. I don't have to get up early. I'm staying in an Airbnb that a comedian has, a little back house from his house. Very nice guy. He lets me stay in his Airbnb for $50, just the cleaning fee. It's unbelievably hot. The AC doesn't. It was this whole trip for 2 weeks straight. The lowest high temperature I saw was 94 degrees. That was the lowest high, and this was no different. Grand Junction, high 90s, staying in this second level of this kind of just like a backyard shed garage. And it's got a sunroof on the top, or a moonroof, or a sunroof, or a moonroof. A sunroof during the day, I would say, and it was beating heavily in the room, and I was just pouring sweat. I tried to take a nap on this leather couch, and I got stuck to the damn couch. Then I went to the show. The show is at a place called Gemini Beer Company, which I had assumed was just a brewery. And then I pull up. No, it's an elementary school. It's just an old elementary school that has closed and now reopened as a bunch of different businesses. But they have done nothing in the way of making it not an elementary school. It's just so clearly every elementary school you've ever been to. And one of the classrooms is now a bar, and they don't brew beers on site. They brew beers elsewhere, and they bring them into the elementary school. And there were some people at the show that went to school in this very school. But before the show, I wanted to tell you guys, I had some time to kill. The Airbnb wasn't ready. It hadn't reached full heat yet. The guy was still cranking the heat of my Airbnb, so I went to a thrift store in Grand Junction. I don't mind thrifting. I'll take some time to thrift. I did come straight from the gym, so I do feel a little self-conscious about how much I stink, but then I go into this thrift store, which is half off day for seniors, by the way, and so it's Senior Saturday at the ARC thrift store. And I got like a nice emerald green shirt. It's kind of like a light corduroy shirt. And then I went to the show later, and I come to find out, talking to people at the show, ARC thrift store, and there's a chain of them. I did not know this. It stands for the Association of Retarded Citizens. And I got a shirt from there. And I told I immediately told my boys. I said, boys, you're not going to believe where I just got this shirt. You're going to have a big laugh about this. And then one of my boys said, oh, yeah, I worked at the ARC in San Diego. I said, this is a thing? They're still just calling it ARC all over the place. The Association of Retarded Citizens. That's us. That is, sounds like Trump's new Space Force. But the show was, they can do a maximum of like 40 people in this. It's a children's classroom. A children's classroom. And the show was good. They were like, hard to describe this crowd. They were just a Grand Junction crowd. And there was like I don't know, 25, 30 of them. Kind of a small show, but in such a small venue, the laughs get pretty explosive. And then afterwards, I go hang out with these guys. And one of the comics, I was hanging out before the show, and one of the comics is this older guy. And we're hanging out, making small talk. And he says to me, so do you do any contract work out in LA? And I didn't know what that meant. I was like, what? Do you do any contract work in LA? And I just went, I mean, not really. Because I don't know what that question means. Contract work? Work? Like a job? What are you talking about? What is contract work? I worked at a movie theater. I signed a contract to work there. I also sometimes will shoot little acting gigs and commercials, and I also will do some stand-up. And pretty much all of those things like require a contract most of the time if it's like a legit thing. Some sort of a contract. But he asked me if I'd got any contract work, and I just went, I mean, not really. And just hoped that he would let it go. And then after the show, I was hanging out with a bunch of boys from the show. And two sober comics who are just, so they both were just sober guys. We went back to like one of their places and we recorded a podcast, and then the night could have been done, but they knew I wanted to go out in the town. I like going out in the town. Ryan O likes going out in the town. If you're coming to see Ryan O do stand-up, I'll go out in the town with you, unless you're fucking weird. Nah, that hasn't stopped me before. I like going and seeing the town. Take me to your favorite bars. And night after night, it does take a toll on the body. But these guys are so sweet. They're both sober, but they just took me to like downtown Grand Junction, which is way better than the rest of Grand Junction. The rest of Grand Junction, people are like strung out on meth and fentanyl on the sidewalk, baking in the heat. But downtown Grand Junction is like nice. It's kind of the opposite of a lot of cities. Downtown LA, yikes. Would not call that the nice part of LA. But GC, Junktown, oh, it has the streets are like serpentines. Beautiful serpentine streets. Nice sidewalks, clean sidewalks. And they take me out to this like loud bar, a lot of kids. And one of these guys, he's like in his 50s and he has a cane. And I never did find out what that was about. I think it was injury related. It almost came up in the podcast. When I just asked everyone, we were all so high. And I just asked, what's everyone's worst injury you've ever had? And this guy's like, I have a cane, so that's kind of a terrible story. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot you had a cane. That's not, sorry I brought that one up. I just wanted to talk about my sore neck. Neck is still sore, by the way, folks. Might need to get my neck chopped off. This is simply awful. But I'm back home. I think it's a lot of like my very long drives that I would have to do day after day after day. Sitting in a car day after day, I think is not good. Now that I don't have to do that, hopefully my neck just gets a little bit better. And I know you guys care a lot about my neck. And I know a lot of you guys want to kiss my neck. And I know that because I get a lot of comments, hey, Ryan, I want to kiss your neck. And I say, shut up. Y'all are so nasty. But these guys take me to this bar, and it's a loud bar, and there's young people. And then this girl comes up to my friend who was with the cane, and I will call him my friend. Comes up to me, and she says, I wrote it down. It was so funny. She goes, I saw you come in. I want to say stay safe. I was like, and he came over and told us. And he was like, that girl just came up to me and just said, I saw you come in, and I just wanted to say stay safe. I guess because he had a cane? That's a weird thing to say. That's like a haunting thing to hear. And then she just left. I was like, dude, that's like when the cat at the nursing home chooses you. You're fucked. You better stay safe, brother. And that was Grand Junction. Also at around this time during the tour, it was in Boise, one of the people I had hung out with had recommended an audiobook to me. So I started listening to my very first audiobook. I've never listened to an audiobook before. And I'm now listening to Project Hail Mary on audiobook. And it's a bit tedious. And I'll say this, it's a bit far-fetched. I'm a little more than halfway through, and I don't think I will become an audiobook guy. I'm also 17 episodes in out of 30 episodes of this audiobook on Spotify, and I don't know, I think I'm just done. It's good to listen to when you're driving for 6 hours, but other than that, when am I gonna listen to this thing like at the gym? At home? When am I ever going to listen to this audiobook ever again? I think I'm done with it. But it's okay because it was a little bit far-fetched and a little bit tedious with the science, but a great idea. But a little bit far-fetched with learning an alien language in a very quick amount of time. That seems a little ridiculous. But audiobooks, who'd have thought? Certainly I'm not doing well with reading regular books. I've been reading this book. I'll let you listen to it. That's me hitting the mic with the book. It's called Gambler by Billy Walters. By all accounts, should be an easy book to finish. It's stupid. It's about gambling, but and I brought it on the trip. I don't think I read it once. Didn't crack it once. Anyway, very excited for the movie Project Hail Mary with Ryan Gosling and Milana Vayntrub. But the day after Grand Junction, I have to drive to Durango, about 3 hours or so south. And I look at a map. I thought, I got some time to kill between here and Durango. I don't have to go straight to Durango. I can go check things out. Look at a map. What can I see that's on the way? Telluride. Telluride, snow falling down, waking up with her in that sleepy little town. My voice is also a bit shot. I am just going to record this podcast for hopefully like an hour, and then I'll stop. I'll bang out as much as I can. I think I can do it. I've always wanted to go to Telluride ever since Tim McGraw's hit 1990-something album set this circus down. Just beautiful in pictures. Oh, it had looked at pictures, had seen pictures of the place, and just always wanted to go. And there's so many places in Colorado. And there's so many damn places there that are just so nice and beautiful in their own little way. I saw a bunch of them on this very trip. And they're also unique and beautiful. And there's so many that I didn't get to go to, like Vail and Breckenridge and Aspen. These are places that I kept hearing about. And I'm like, God, I've never been to these places. And like, you go to fucking Massachusetts, you can go to Boston. Go to Martha's Vineyard. I don't know, you want to go to Western Mass? Maybe go to Amherst or something? I don't know. How many places can you think of that you would ever want to visit? Colorado's got like 40 places that are like tourist hotspots. But I go to Telluride, and it's beautiful. It's a bit touristy. Obviously, it's it's a bit bougie. It's got a little bit of wealth, but it's exactly what you see in the pictures. It's that main strip of stores, storefronts, and shops, and then these towering mountains looming over the town. It's very cool. The big concern in Telluride, it would appear, is parking. And I parked my car, no problem, on a little side street off the main road that I wanted to see. And I start walking into the little village, and I walk by these people that are talking about parking and diagonal parking. And I didn't think anything of it. I go, they were just talking about diagonal parking diagonally. Just something to talk about for them, I suppose. And then I start walking into town, and I start seeing there's signs in everyone's yard that say, no diagonal parking in our town. They hate diagonal parking there. And I guess they're trying to make they're trying to change the streets to diagonal parking, which I don't get what the problem is. And all the signs are like, no diagonal park. The busiest street in Telluride? You want diagonal parking on the busiest street in Telluride? Bad idea. Bad idea. I took a picture of one sign that was in front of like a completely rundown shithole of a house. Bad idea. How about you mow your lawn before taking a stand against the angle of parking in the town? What's the problem with diagonal parking? Wouldn't that make more parking spaces? But people think it's the busiest street in town, so you're going to back out of that diagonal parking spot and you're going to get hit. No, you're not. The speed limit is fucking 15 miles an hour. It will be fine. Also, turn around. Also, everyone has rear view cameras. Why is this everyone was so concerned. Every single yard had this sign in it. Then I got lunch. It was fine. It was actually bad. Yeah, I got a bad chicken sandwich. And headed on down. Is there anything else I want to say about Telluride? No. Then I headed on down to Durango. First time in Durango. I've always had visions of Durango. I think I've heard of Durango in like a Steve Earle song or something like that. And so I've always thought of it as like a cool like cowboy town. I wouldn't really call it I guess it kind of is. It's a bit more Wild West, certainly than Telluride. But it's cool. I have a cousin that lives down there. What up, cousin Frank? There's no way he listens to this podcast. But we went and got drinks, and then I went to the show, which started at 6 p.m. on a Sunday. So this is a pretty sleepy little town. Anyway, I get to the show. The show, I did a lot of odd venues. Odd venues on this tour. This show was in, I guess you would call it was like a 2-story building that was kind of a small like mini mall, I guess. And there's 2 levels, and you walk in and it's very, very well air conditioned and very quiet and cavernous. And it seems like most of the other shops in this mini mall, if not all, are closed. And there is a little Mexican restaurant downstairs that has a couple people sitting there. And the show is upstairs. And if you follow the signs and go upstairs, the show is in a place called Lower Left Studios. Oddly enough, it's in the upper right of the building. And I made that joke on stage, and it did pretty well. And get up there, and it's just a room. I can't describe how much of just a square room this is. It's you walk in the door, and it's just a square room, and there's nowhere to sit if you're out of the way of everybody. If you're a comic, you have to just sit there as everybody walks in. And this show, guess what, bitches? Sold out. I believe this is my first sold out show of the tour so far, but not the last. So my cousin came and he got to see me do a sold out show, which is only like, I don't know, it's only 45 people, I think it was. It's like a small little room. But a sellout's a sellout. Also, when we were getting drinks earlier, we were just talking at this bar, and this guy next to me, he just starts fucking talking to me. Like, dude, stop. People always want to, whenever I sit down at a bar, people always want to talk to me. And a lot of times I'll be alone at a bar, and I just want to, the night's over, and I just want to have a drink, and I would like watch TV or be on my phone. And so many times on this trip, people just started fucking talking to me. Stop talking to me. I guess I should be grateful that people want to be friendly. But in this case, I'm talking to my cousin. I'm clearly in a conversation. Then this guy starts yapping about something. I'm like, dude, leave us alone. What a weird old man. We're talking over here. He starts talking about the Eagles. He's an Eagles fan. Yeah, of course. You're retarded. And so we had to leave the bar early because this guy was so fucking annoying. And so I went to the show. The show was pretty fun. The host of the show was this guy. I think his name was John. I wrote it down. Tony. His name was Tony. Speaking of Eagles, this guy, older guy, the nicest guy I have ever met in my life. He was so sweet. He was so grateful. He went up and did his set, and then when he was done with his set, I was like, hey, good set. And he was like, thank you so much. Thank you. And I liked his like shoes or something like that. Or I remember giving him a compliment, and he was like, that means a lot to me. Thank you. But he, when he hosted the show, when he was bringing me up, this intro he gave me was so crazy. It was like, you folks, I want you to realize how lucky you are to be witnessing an act like this in a venue like this. This is like seeing the Beatles at a dive bar before they made it big. I mean, this guy has been on television. He's been in movies. This is a really, really, really important moment and a really big show. And he gave me this long, way too intense intro. And then he goes, so I want you to please give a warm welcome to Ryan O'Flanahan. And that is not my name. But I wasn't going to tell Tony that. Sweet, sweet guy. And then after the show, Tony was like buying, or I was giving Tony some merch. This other old guy comes up and he starts giving me money for merch. There was this guy that I was like fucking with in the crowd, this old man, Joe, I think his name was, and I was like, he starts giving me money for a koozie. I was like, just take it, no, just take it, man. Sorry for messing with you. And he goes, no, take it. And I go, no, it's on the house. And he goes, take it. I just got my pension check, and I'm spending money tonight. I said, hell yeah, Joe. And then so then afterwards, I went out with the comics from that show. We went to a bar. That was really fun. They were doing a cool thing there, Grand Junction Comedy. Check them out if you live in the area. I mean, Durango Comedy. Oh, God. Durango Comedy. Grand Junction Comedy is also a thing. A lot of these towns will just have the name of the town and then comedy. And I got a lot of stickers. But Durango Comedy is a real thing. And it's really run by the people who booked this. And they have a couple venues. And so I went out with them. And the one of them told me, I guess I was wearing like a light green shirt at this show. My classic Target shirt that I've been wearing a lot for years. And she goes, by the way, thank you for wearing that green shirt. I know you wore that green shirt because the tour poster that we made was green. And I was like, that's not at all why I wore this shirt. And she was like, really? I was like, yeah. I just wore this per chance. And she was like, I thought because we made like a teal tour poster for the show, and it always does help when the artist wears like the color of what the tour poster is. And I'm like, there's no way that's true. That cannot be a thing. I actively try to never wear what I'm wearing in the tour poster. That happened to me once, and I was humiliated. I remember doing a show in Madison, and my friend Rob Gleason pointed out, dude, you're wearing the same shirt that they have a big poster of me outside. Come see Ryan O'Flanagan. And I was wearing the same damn shirt. He was like, you can't do that. I was like, fuck, dude, they're going to think I have one shirt. But yeah, she thanked me for wearing a green shirt. I thought it was very interesting. The next morning, I did a Durango, Colorado tourist video. That was a very hot day. I think that one's okay. I don't know. Some of these places, it's a bit hard. It's such like a nice town, and pretty much everything in the town is on this one strip of a few blocks. So that's kind of where I centered most of my video around. And towns like that are tough because that's where everybody is walking around. So I'm trying to film these videos without making too much of a fool of myself and be yelling in public too much. But I think it came out okay. And I had a day off. I was driving. The next show I had was in Fort Collins, so I wanted to drive as far as I could after the tourist video to Fort Collins. I wanted to get like 2/3 of the way or 3/4 of the way to Fort Collins and then stop in a town. And so I asked my cousin who lives out there, hey, so where should I go between here, Durango, and there, Fort Collins? That's like 3/4 of the way there. That's just like a little town that's got like a little strip of bars and restaurants that I would never otherwise see. And he goes, Leadville. I said, excuse me? He said, Leadville. I said, come again one more time? He said, Leadville. So I went to Leadville, Colorado. Leadville, and he didn't even tell me this. Leadville is the highest elevation town in the entire United States. We're talking like 11,000 feet. And it's just a town. You don't feel like you're at 11,000 feet. You don't feel like you're going to fall over. Isn't it crazy? People think Denver is so high. There are places that are just twice as high as Denver. Like an hour from Denver. And they're just towns. And I went to Leadville, and I stayed at a really very, very shitty hotel. I stayed at a Roadway Inn. The hotels in Leadville there's only a couple of them. So they're pretty expensive, except for the one I stayed in. So I stayed on the outskirts of town in a shitty little Roadway Inn. And I went and got dinner, and then I went to a bar, and wouldn't you know it, I'm sitting at a bar drinking a Stein by myself. And the Stein was $6.25. The bartender goes, that's $6.25. And I didn't hear the 6. I went, it's 25? And she goes, 6:25. Then she starts yelling, 6:25! And I go, okay, all right, sorry. I just thought it was crazy that this would be, I don't know what prices are in Lidl. I saw the hotel prices in this town. It wouldn't be that far-fetched that there was a $25 Stein. Hell, you buy a Stein at Landmark Theater. If it's your first Stein, it's $26.99. You know? So it's not that far-fetched. But anyway, so I'm sitting drinking by myself, and the fucking guy next to me, wouldn't you know it, looks over at me and he goes, what song do you want to hear? And I'm like, God damn it, dude. It's all these like old men in there. It's like a smoky fucking bar. I'm like, I don't know, man. Don't worry about it. And he's like, I've been playing songs all night on this Touch Tunes. I'm out of songs. Give me a song. I say Africa by Toto. Great song. I'm trying to think of what's like a universal song that like these old heads might like. Woo! There goes another old head right now. Rest in peace. Love you, Myrtle. I say Africa by Toto. This guy has never heard of it. He's like, what? So we're going through his phone. I'm like, yeah, that one. And it starts playing. He goes, oh, yeah, I know this, yeah. And the guy next to him, who's wasted drunk and even older, goes, who the hell played this shit? And then I'm just sitting there like, oh, shit, I'm going to get my ass kicked by an old man. And then he starts laughing. I think, okay, thank God he's joking around. But then he starts just really screaming and slamming his fist on the bar. And everyone is really reacting like this is not unusual. This guy is just this old drunk. This is a Monday night. No. Yeah, this is a Monday night. God damn. So I said, I'm getting out of here. So then I left. That place was called Manhattan's, I believe. And then I walked down the street, and I found this bar that seemed to, there wasn't a ton of people in there, but there was like a band warming up. It was called Scarlett's Tavern. And that was like a real big bar. I feel a little bit, you can see it's like there's like locals in there, and you can see them kind of look at you when you walk in. And you feel a little bit like, I know I'm not a local, but I am also an alcoholic. So I'm just like you. I mean no harm. I just want to drown the pain out as much as you do. Okay? And I go in and I get a beer. The band starts playing. I sit down and I'm watching the band. And I'm digging the band. The band is sick. It's a 6-piece band. They're fun. They got a girl who plays like a bunch of different shit. She plays like a flute in some of the songs. And damn, I go up and they got a Venmo thing. I give them a little tip on Venmo. Hell yeah, they're awesome. I'm getting another drink. This band is cool. I'm just hanging out. People are like dancing. I mean, it's a Monday night. There's like, I don't know, 6 or 7 people dancing. There's like 2 old ladies playing pool on the corner, and they're very serious about it. This bar it's the only bar that's really open left in town, I would imagine at this point. This is a town of 2,000 people. Tiny little town with 2-block strip of stuff. Like, that's it. 2,000 people in this town. And so I'm enjoying the band, getting my drink on, and they go to take a break, the band does, and I go, and they got a bunch of merch. I go, fuck yeah, this would be a cool, like, band t-shirt. I go to look over at the band t-shirts. First of all, there also was this woman brought in this dog to this bar, and it was a super friendly dog, and the dog just wanted to, play with everybody. And the dog came over and tried to play with me, I went into the bathroom and came out, and the dog was just like sitting there outside the bathroom. I was like, oh, hey. And the dog was wagging his tail, and I gave it a pet, and it was like jumping up on me. And I was like, oh, hey, yeah, I was hoping I could get to pet this dog. It's a pretty cute dog. Then I went over and like sat down in my seat, and the dog came over and was like sitting down with me, and was all just a good dog. And the woman came over and like snatched the dog away. And I was like, oh, sorry, is that yours? And she said something that was like, I didn't write it down, I guess, but man, it was something to the effect of, yeah, sorry, he just sometimes he just likes people. Sometimes he just likes people too much. It's like, oh, jeez. And this bitch was a butch lesbian, and seems like she lacked love, and that's kind of how I was gonna read that situation. But don't hold your dog back from experiencing love, you miserable bitch, and get a better haircut. But anyway, so I was buying a T-shirt. One of the band members goes out to see if they have any in my size, and then this couple comes up, or this couple stops me, and they go, "Excuse me, I'm sorry. What's your name?" And I went, "Ryan." And she goes, "I knew it." And she had a picture of me. She had like my IMDb up on her phone. She was like, "I know you from New Girl." And I was like, "Holy shit, that's so crazy." There's someone at this couple at this bar that knows me from New Girl. I mean, this bar is just the middle of nowhere. It's the highest elevation town in the United States, and there's nobody lives there. And I've never heard of it. If you don't live in Colorado, you've probably never heard of it. An old mining town that's completely pitch dark black at night. And I mean, it's just a nothing town. And these people know who I am. And not only that, but they are in town from Massachusetts, where I am from. For they were like a wedding or something nearby. And I'm talking to them thinking, this is the craziest thing that could ever happen in Leadville. What are the chances that there would be someone here that recognizes me? And then I hear Ryan, and I turn, and it is my friend Andy Wood, who is a comedian in LA, who booked a festival that I did in 2012. I think that's how I met him. So I've known this guy for 13 years. He was the trombone player in the band, but from where I was sitting, he was behind the speaker. Because I was kind of sitting in the corners being weird by myself. So I never noticed. I saw that there was a trombone player, but I didn't see him. And it was my friend Andy Wood, who is not only a comedian, but also a 5-time Jeopardy champion. I turn, it's fucking Andy Wood? I go, "What the fuck are you doing here?" He goes, "What the fuck are you doing here?" I go, "Yeah, I guess you're playing in the band." I did not know he was in a band. I did not know he had any sort of musical talent. I guess it makes sense. He's a genius. He was on Jeopardy 5 times in a row. I'm like, "Dude, I'm going to Fort Collins tomorrow. My cousin recommended this place as somewhere to stop. And so I'm just here just having a good time." I was about to leave once I got this shirt, to be honest. And he's like, "Dude, I'm just doing this. We're doing I'm in this band, and we're doing 10 days or 12 days around Colorado." I'm like, "That's what I'm doing. I'm doing a bunch of shows around Colorado." And we'd happen to cross paths with my buddy Andy, and I'm doing his podcast in a couple days. So I'll be posting about that. It's called Probably Science with our other friend Jesse Case. But it's just this a comic that I know from back in the day. And I haven't seen him in a bit, but he is just an old friend. I go, I've never felt more like I was dreaming. That is a dream. I had this dream. I went to this bar in Leadville, Colorado, and then Andy Wood was the trombone player. What? I cannot describe to you how tiny this town is and how insane it is that I ran into him. And he came over as I was waiting. I was buying his band's merch. I was waiting for the guy to bring back my size. So now I've seen Andy, and he has to go back on. They're not done playing, and I'm staying all night. And God, I really need to take advantage of nights where I don't have to drink. After shows, I always go out and drink with the other comics or fans or whoever wants to go drink with me. But on my nights off, it would be prudent to just drink as little as possible. Maybe go out and have a couple for fun. Watch the game on TV. And this was going to be one of those nights. And then I ran into friggin' Andy. And then we're doing shots. Man, we're doing shots after shots and drinks after drinks. And this homeless guy is talking to us, and he's playing harmonica for us. And this guy is filthy. He stinks. And I did tell him that my friends call me Gucci, and he did start calling me Gucci. So I do appreciate that about him. He did not call me Dr. Drip or Gucci Greatest or Guac Daddy. But it did crack me up when he was like, so Gucci, where are you from? And I was like, you just call me Gucci, dude. But I did get a video of him like playing. He had like a case of like 5 harmonicas. 5 beautiful harmonicas. And then he played harmonica and freestyle rapped for us. And yeah, he was a hard guy to sit next to due to the smell, but by all accounts, a very nice guy. And he signed like a piece of cardboard or plastic for me. He's like, I'm going to give you my autograph. I was like, great, yes, I would love that. That's definitely not how it went. I think I asked for his autograph. I was like, you're going to be big, dude. You're going to be a star. I've never seen anyone do like harmonica into freestyling. Probably because it's hard to do both at the same time. If you can mix the two, that would be ideal. But I was like, dude, let me get your autograph. I don't know why I proposed it like he just gave it to me. I definitely asked this guy for his autograph. But all he had was a yellow marker and a piece of loose plastic. And he signed an autograph. He wrote an autograph, and it's just like a bunch of, it's not like a signature. It's just like a bunch of just like dots and squiggles, like I don't know. It doesn't look like it's not like a written language. It's just like a design. The closest it could be is like Arabic, maybe, but that you can at least tell is a written language. This is just like nonsense. And I was like, thanks, man. And then he let me keep the yellow marker. I promptly threw it out. I actually kept it in my suitcase for like a few days. Then one day I was like, why am I keeping this? This doesn't write on anything. It's a yellow marker. This has no use. What surface would this work on? I guess like a highlighter type, but it wasn't a highlighter. It was like for writing. But I don't know. So that was Leadville. I did end up going and talking to those 2 old women who were playing pool. Their names were Lois and something else. And they were sisters. And old ladies love me. These 2 people liked me. I don't think they loved me, but they were nice. And I was talking to Lois for a good long while, and Lois was describing something as being dark. I think we were talking about a night, some sort of a night, and she goes, and she described it as, it was darker than the Ace of Spades. I said, Lois, honey, I'm writing that down, because that's something I'm going to start saying. Boy, I just took a shit darker than the Ace of Spades. And the bartender was very bad at being a bartender at this bar. But he's the only bartender in town at this point. And his parents were there. Both of his parents were there. It was very sweet. But he was wasted. He was the drunkest person at the whole bar. And he was the bartender. The next day, I go to Fort Collins. I make it all the way to the fort. Check into my hotel. The girl at the front desk is from Nebraska. She made sure to tell me that. She was she takes my ID, and she said, "Ooh, Los Angeles, huh?" And I said, "Yep. Please don't talk to me. Let's not ask me anything, huh? Let's just get me checked in and get me in my room, huh?" She says, "Los Angeles, what's that like?" This is a young girl. This girl must be friggin' 23. Max. She's 23 at the eldest. She said, "What's that like?" I said, "It's fine. I don't know. It can be pretty overwhelming." I don't know. I'm just trying to think of what can I say about LA to a Fort Collins person. I'm like, "It's cool. I like it. It's pretty big." She goes, "That's how I feel about this place." I'm like, "Friggin' Fort Collins, Colorado?" "Yeah, it's just a bit much. I mean, you go into Old Town, 10 minutes down the road, it's a lot. And I've been here for 5 years, and I'm ready to get out. I'm from Nebraska, and I want to go back to Nebraska. I go, yeah, if Fort Collins, Colorado is overwhelming to you, you're a loser. That's not a big town at all. You should probably go back to Nebraska. I go up to my room, and there is, in the room over, there is a dog barking nonstop. And I cannot see the dog, for there is a door. But I know exactly what this dog looks like. This dog is about 3 inches tall, and it has eyeballs that are going 2 different directions. And it's awful, and it has patches of fur missing. And I'm like, this is nope. I immediately went right back down and said, yeah, there's a dog barking in the room next door. You gotta move me. I have to do a self-tape on this day. So she was nice. Nebraska girl did, and she goes, and just for the trouble, I'm gonna give you what is it called? Elite enhanced Wi-Fi, whatever it's called, the good Wi-Fi. Fast, even. I said, that's great, because I was going to look at porn. And I don't want to be stopping and starting. You know how that goes. I went out on the town, went to a couple bars. I saw a guy streaming himself playing pinball. He had a crazy rig set up. I will post that on my Instagram. And then I went to another bar. Okay. Sat down, drinking by myself, and then the guy next to me starts talking to me. He comes over to me. He walks over to me. Oh, God. What are you doing, dude? I'm clearly, watching the TV, and I just want to... Do you think that I want to, be approached? Do I look like I want to be approached? I feel like I'm mean mugging when I'm out drinking by myself. I love just being on my phone and texting my friends, looking at Instagram, till my phone is about to run out of battery, and then I get the hell out of there and hope it makes it till I get home. This guy comes over, he's like, hey, and I was like, hey, and he puts his hand out and he was like, Ryan, and I was like, yeah, man, yeah, you know me? And he was like, what? And I was like, oh, your name is Ryan? And he was like, what? Yeah. And I was like, oh, my name is Ryan. And he was like, oh, cool. And we didn't talk about that at all. And he was wasted. We made no progress on any sort of small talk, and then he walked away. And then his friend he went back to the other side of his friend, and he introduced me to his friend. Hey, this is my friend. I shook the guy's hand. He's wearing an Auburn hat. So I said, nice to meet you, man. War Eagle. And he was like, what? And I was like, that's an Auburn thing. And he goes, oh, I just have this hat. I was like, oh, okay. That must have been very weird for you to hear a stranger say, yeah, War Eagle. Hey, buddy, War Eagle. Imagine someone saying that to you on the street if you didn't know what it meant. You're like, oh, shit, do we have to get in formation? Are we getting in V formation right now? Flank me, boys. But he loved Cam Newton. And, we bonded over that. Like, I'm a Panthers fan, so I love Cam. That's why I said, I was like, yeah, I only know that because I'm a Panthers fan, so I love Cam Newton. And he goes, are we going to be friends? Because I love Cam Newton. And he was talking about Cam. But you don't know what War Eagle is, dude? All right. But anyway, don't ever talk to me if I am sitting alone at a bar, unless you're a hot babe. Then the next day, I recorded a Fort Collins tourist video. That was the worst one to date. It was so fucking hot, and there's so many families with these children around town. I don't know. I can pick and choose some things that work, but man, oh man, it was hard to. There's a lot of things I wanted to go film. I go, that's an interesting piece of art or whatever the hell. And then there would just be these little kids around it. Damn it. It was a big little kid town, I find. This was on a Wednesday at this point. And God, it was so fucking hot. I was going inside to places just chilling. I went to this little museum just to go sit down in the damn museum and get out of the damn heat. I should plan my tours videos better. Don't do them in August. I got a nice farmer's tan going right now. But then the show in Fort Collins is at the Comedy Fort, which I did years ago, maybe 2021 or something like that. And it's a really good club, and it remains a really good club. This show, we are now talking about my second sold-out show of this tour. This one is a real, actual sellout. This is 135 seats, and this crowd is so damn good. They're smart. They actually get my jokes. There are good crowds that are also just kind of dumb. Then there are crowds that you feel like you can really, they really will get you. Your actual sense of humor and the nuance of your jokes. Fort Collins is my kind of crowd. And just such a good show. Sold a bunch of merch. And so last time I was in town, we kept going to this bar called Tony's because it was so trashy and it was just like a running joke. I did a Friday and a Saturday, 2 of each, I think. And both nights went to this shitty, disgusting bar named Tony's. This time, I had discovered a better bar. It's called the Trailhead Tavern. I tell everybody, hey, at the show, new favorite bar, we're going to Trailhead Tavern. And then after the show, a few people came to Trailhead Tavern, not a bunch. Actually, it was a good amount. It was maybe like 10 people from the show came. And it's such a cool bar. I've never seen so much stuff. I love stuff. Kitschy, weird, interesting, goofy stuff. Lining the walls. We're talking like every light fixture is a different light fixture. There's one lamp that's just got these Clydesdales running around in it. They got a boat with a skeleton that's like going into the wall. They got a bunch of weird just taxidermy and stuff. And at the far end of the bar, very far away at the end of the bar, is a very, very old snowmobile. And I'm hanging out with these guys, talking. They were at the show. Awesome dudes. Loved hanging out with these guys. One of them brings up, look at that snowmobile over there. And so I was like, I'm going to go take a closer look. And I do this like goofy little run. It's like 40 feet away. It's like a pretty big bar. I go this little goofy little jog over to the snowmobile, running like a fool. And there's a guy standing under the snowmobile. And I get over there to go look at the snowmobile. And the guy looks at me and he goes, oh, hey, dude, I'm a big fan. And I was like, oh, shit. Cool, man. Were you at the show? And he was like, no, what show? And this guy wasn't even at the show. He just knew me. And by the way, this happened twice at this bar. Another guy came up and was like, hey, holy shit, I can't believe you're seeing Ryan O'Flanagan at this bar. I go, were you at the show? And he was like, no, what show? What is happening with like the algorithm? Because people are not finding out about shows that I'm doing. And they seem like pretty big fans of mine. But sucks for these two anyway because it's sold out anyway, so fuck them. But the first guy, I took a picture with him. Then this guy, I had just jogged up to look at the snowmobile, and he goes, holy shit, I'm a fan. He goes, dude, I sent you like my pilot a couple of years ago on Instagram, and you responded to it. You were very nice. He showed me the message. I was very nice. I was like, oh, dude, this is really funny. And then I'm just hanging out with this guy. And then we end up just hanging out all night. We go back to his friend's place and just had a rollicking good time. And then I have this running joke that I do where I pretend to be jump scared. If you come around a corner, or even if you're just already been standing there, I go, whoa! Like I'm totally scared by you, and sometimes I'll cock a fist like I'm going to hit you just out of surprise. And it's just like no one likes it, but it is just like a running thing that I do. And I was at these people's apartment. There's 4 of us, and this dog comes around the corner, and I decide to do that bit where I jump scare and I cock my fist back like I'm ready to fight. And little did I know that this guy who I had met, his name's Cameron, and we'd been hanging out all night having a great time. He was right behind me, and I I could not have elbowed him in the face harder. I got him right in the eye, and he was down, like he was like concussed. It was just like boom. Like I pulled my fist back and cocked it back very cartoonishly, dramatically hard for the bit, thinking that he was like in a different spot. Turns out he was right directly behind me, and I got him right in the face. And he was doubled over. He was just like, dude, he was like seeing stars. I mean, I got him so hard. I thought he was going to have to go to the hospital. And then he comes up, and his eye is just like, already has like a shiner forming. His eyeball is totally red. And he was like, what was that, dude? And I was like, sorry, man, I do this bit sometimes where I pretend to be scared by things that are obviously not scary. And the bit is that, whoa, I just got jump scared, but it's not really that scary. And then I pretend like I'm like ready to fight. And I got you pretty hard in the eye. Anyway, then I went home, and I woke up in the morning, and my elbow was like completely bruised. So I figured his face was like fucked. And I texted him and said, hey, dude, is your eye okay? And he was like, yeah, man, don't worry about it. I think he just didn't want me to feel too bad. He 100% had a black eye. He already was getting a black eye when I left. Yeah, after that I got a Uber and was like, I'm gonna get out of here. Now I'm like physically hurting people with my drunkenness. The next day I do a show in Colorado Springs, Colorado. It's a weed smoking show. I check into the Radisson Hotel in Colorado Springs, and there is a restaurant. First of all, I pull up and there's an airplane out front of the hotel. I said, "What the hell? You can't park there." Turns out it's a place called the Airplane Restaurant. And I said, "That's interesting. I will clock that. Maybe I'll eat there later." I get into my hotel, and there is a sign at the front desk of the hotel. I'm going to read you guys. I took a picture of it. You're not going to believe this sign at the front of this hotel. Here it is. Okay, it's a picture. It's a beautiful little cartoon moth right up against a light bulb. Really showing love and admiration for this light bulb. This is a sign at the front desk of the hotel as I'm checking in. I took a picture of it. You moth be wondering what these fuzzy things are. Welcome to Colorado Springs. We have mountains, museums, and ... Miller moths. These seasonal visitors may liven up your nightstand, but rest assured they're harmless and fascinated by light bulbs, not your belongings. First of all, you don't know what belongings I have. I have some fascinating belongings. I might have lava lamps. I saw this sign. I thought it was going to be apologizing for don't mind the moths that are outside or, around the light bulbs that are outside the building. No, you're talking about my nightstand? You're apologizing for the moths that are swarming around the nightstand in my room. I don't like that. And then at the bottom it says, let us know if you wish for additional housekeeping services. Yes, I do wish for that. I wish for you to get the moths out of my room. Don't apologize for the moths. Pardon our dust. Still open for business. No, get the fucking moths out of my room, you psycho. This woman at the front desk had black teeth. I mentioned that to the people of Colorado Springs. No one batted an eye. A lot of drugs and bigotry going on in Colorado Springs, but a beautiful town. The show was called The Gateway Show. And I'm sorry, I am losing my voice, but I'm pretty close to the end, so I might as well just finish it. How long have I been going here? Hold on. Okay, great. Yeah, it's going to be another friggin' long one, but you guys can deal with it. And the show is comics go up to 20. I didn't realize I was headlining, so I was a bit unprepared, but I did 20 minutes, and then we all go outside and smoke weed. The whole crowd. This was like, dude, there was, I think it was like 140 people at this show. I don't know if it was that many. It was over 100. I did not think it was going to be I thought it was gonna be like a really chill show. The way this guy reached out to me on Instagram and told me about this show, he goes, "Hey, I see you're gonna be in Colorado. If you got this free night, you can come do this show. It's not much pay, but you know, if you can find a better show, definitely take it. But this offer stands if you want to come do this one." So I said, "All right, yeah, I'll do that one." And then it was fucking a huge packed, and it was at an actual comedy club called Looney's, and it was like packed. I think it was close to being sold out. There's a few empty seats in the back, but it was over 100. And so I do a 20-minute set up top, and then everyone in the crowd all gets up, and everyone walks out into the parking lot. And everyone's just smoking weed in the parking lot. It's just this big cloud in the parking lot. And I had to miss that because I was selling merch, because the guy who booked it told me to sell merch at intermission, because afterwards everyone's going to be too high and scared and they're going to forget. So I said, all right. So I sold a good amount of merch at intermission. And but then the show started, everyone went back in, and I'm just out there with my merch. Like, oh shit, I didn't even get high. So then I had to go he gave me a joint, so I had to go get high by myself in the parking lot, which is so lame. But it was just honor system. We're supposed to get as high as we can without freaking out. There's two other comics, one of whom, it was her second time ever smoking weed. The other guy, he hadn't smoked in a year. And then me, who smokes fairly regularly, but definitely, dude, I am very stupid and oftentimes have a terrible time when I do smoke. So I went out and I smoked like a good amount, and I got pretty high. And then I came back in, and all of our sets were just a fucking shit show. I mean, that's kind of the point of the show, for it to just be a shit show. And the host did like to kind of harp on it. Can you believe you're going to see these comics high? And yeah, we all got really fucking high. And it was awesome. Yeah, the guy that runs it is like the coolest, nicest dude. And next time I'm in town, they do those shows everywhere in Colorado. It's called the Gateway Show. Check it out if you're in Colorado. I know they do in Fort Collins and Denver, and it's kind of just a traveling thing. But God, man, the first comic goes up and he is just fucking gone, and he's just like, I can't think. And the next girl went up and she was like, I'm kind of freaking out. Anybody freaking out? And I went up and I wanted to try to kind of be like, I wanted to keep the energy up. I was going last, so I wanted to I don't want to go up and be like, ooh, ooh. So I don't know. I tried to hold it together, but it was fucking hard, man. It's hard to. I was scared. My hands were like shaking. It's scary being that high and everyone's looking at you. But I think it was okay. It's fun when we're all so high together. Generally, high shows are just not fun. The only things that people ever laugh at is just high stuff, high jokes, weed jokes. But generally, weed-friendly shows are just not good because the audiences cannot keep up with what you're saying. They're worrying about their own shit. They can't focus. They're thinking about their own they're thinking about their own heartbeat and their own breath. And it sounds like, everyone's going to be laughing. Everyone's going to be high and laughing. No. How often when you get high are you just laughing a lot? It's that you get one good laugh where you're laughing way too hard and you're crying laughing, and then you realize, oh shit, I'm too high. I'm laughing way too hard at this. And then you try to just not laugh like that for the rest of the night because you're embarrassed. That's what getting high is. But people think that getting high is just ha 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 ha. No, that's acid. Acid, you will laugh for 11 consecutive hours, and I highly recommend it. But the show, let me go back to my notes. Oh, I went to the airplane restaurant. They treat you like a little kid. I walk in, and she goes, do you want to sit in the airplane? I said, yeah, I want to sit in the airplane. That's why I came here. And then they bring you to your seat, and she was like, you can, your server will be right with you. And if you want, you can sit in the cockpit, and you can play with the buttons and everything. And I was like, thank you, cool. I'm 37, but yeah, thank you. And then I got a very bad cheesesteak, and then when the server brought my check, she goes, thank you for flying with us today. And I was like, oh, I know it's not really a plane. I'm actually almost 40. I know that we didn't fly. You don't have to do that. Went to the airplane restaurant. That was fun. And I was wearing a shirt. Probably my favorite like short sleeve button down. Very nice blue shirt that I have. And I forgot before I left for this trip, it was missing a button right on my belly button. Ironically, it was missing a button right on my belly button. So pretty open floor plan around the belly button when wearing this shirt. And the woman at the front desk could not help me with a safety. I just wanted a safety pin. Woman at the front desk of the hotel goes into the back room and then comes out. Yeah, no safety pin. There's no safety pins in the hotel. You don't have a safety pin anywhere in the hotel. The hotel? Okay. I believe you. I'm sure you went into the back room and looked thoroughly for a safety pin anywhere in this hotel. And then the woman my server at the airplane restaurant couldn't help me. But then during intermission, a very nice couple helped me. A woman came over because I told him on stage, I said, hey, if anyone has a safety pin, when we all go out for intermission, we all go to our cars, can someone please see if you have a safety pin? And this woman actually came back after intermission and handed me a safety pin. And then I was able to not have my belly button showing for the whole rest of the night. So, thank you to Rebecca, her name was. Damn, good memory, Rye. Then we went to a bar and did some karaoke. I did not participate. A very important thing happened at this show, folks. I sold my very last blue koozie. As you all know, I bought 2,000 Ryan O'Flanagan's Yummy Little Ass koozies, 500 of each color, and we are officially out of our first color. Blue is the first one to sell out. I sold my very last blue koozie in Colorado Springs. And, dude, we're getting down there. I got, maybe 40 or 50 koozies left total. We're almost done with my 2,000 koozies. And I'm still doing this bit where I go up and I'm like, hey, these aren't exactly flying off the shelves. Woe is me. And it tricks people into thinking this poor guy, he needs us to buy his koozies. And guess what, fucking losers? I'm almost out of them. Haha, gotcha. Just sold 2,000 koozies at $10 a piece over the course of several years. But I'm going to re-up because that's really good merch. People love that merch. And it's merch that I can show on stage and it gets a laugh because it's such funny merch. That's great merch. So I am going to get some more Yummy Little Ass koozies. I'm going to get some different colors. So, hey, come see me back on the road next time. If you already got one, get a different color. You can get a different color. Maybe I'll get a yellow. And so that was Colorado Springs. Then the day after that, I go to Denver. I'm looking at this note. It says Madison Guy and Hotel. Oh yes, I woke up the next day in Colorado Springs. Went to the breakfast with the moths. I didn't have any moths in my room, by the way. It was fine, but I didn't sleep well. With that. God, after seeing that damn sign, kept thinking there's going to be a moth flying into my fucking ear, which did happen to my across-the-street neighbor, Mike McKetsy. As a kid, a moth flew into his ear so deep that he had to go to the hospital and get it removed. A moth burrowed into his ear so deep that he had to go to the hospital. That was like a famous childhood Seekonk, Massachusetts story. And that shit will stick with you for a while. And when you go to check into a hotel and they say, sorry about all the moths in your room while you're sleeping, that's something that you are going to think about. They didn't provide earplugs, that's for sure. But then I woke up and I went to breakfast and a guy was like, hey, Ryan? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, dude, I'm a fan. I live in Madison, Wisconsin. I saw you at a show in Madison a couple years ago. And he was in town for some event. I forgot what it was. And he was just having breakfast. And he was like, what the hell are you doing here? I was like, oh, dude, I was doing a show. But that was kind of just finding these fans that were not at the shows, but are like big fans of mine, that have no idea that I was doing shows. My posts are not reaching people. This guy was in Colorado Springs. He could have came to the show. Like a girl commented when I posted about Fort Collins, I think it was. She was like, or no, I posted about Denver or Colorado Springs or something. Or no, I posted about Durango, and she goes, "You're gonna be in Durango? Oh, I wish you would come to Fort Collins." And I commented, "I am going to Fort Collins. I've been posting that I'm going to Fort Collins. Why are these posts not reaching you? Why are you seeing my post about fucking Durango? What is wrong with the internet? It's not my fault. It's not their fault. It's the goddamn internet. It's fucking Elon." Anyway, then I'm in Denver, and this is the weekend I was the most nervous for. I just couldn't wait to get this over with. This is my first full club weekend since I fired my agent. My first club weekend I've gotten on my own. Usually clubs need you to, go through an agency to make sure you're legit. But I just reached out, and the guy who runs it was a big Dead Kevin fan, so he's like, "Yeah, come on by." So it's an awesome club. It's called the Denver Comedy Underground. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. Both of the early shows are awesome. Both of the late shows are not. They're both fine. PSA, if you're a fan of mine, if you're coming to see me do stand-up and there's multiple shows in a night and you have the option of either one, come to the early show 100% of the time. Unless it's like a 6 p.m. early show. That happened to my family once. There was a 6 p.m. and an 8 p.m. And I didn't realize those were the times, but I told them, just come to the early one. The early one's always better. That was wrong because that was a 6 p.m. and an 8 p.m. In that case, come to the 8 p.m. But yeah, both of the early shows were sold out. So that brings my tally to now 4 sold out shows. And I got sellout bonuses for both of those sellouts, baby. I made pretty good money in Denver. Overall, this wasn't my most lucrative tour, but it was just solid. It was nice after I just quit my job. It was a nice little chunk of change. Some of these clubs don't really pay that great. But Denver Comedy Underground pays pretty well. And they both of the early shows sold out. I will say on the Saturday shows, but I sometimes my biggest fans will come to the late shows, and I feel so bad. The late show on Friday, the host, the booker, the owner, in fact, comes over to me and he goes, "Hey, they're kind of a sleepy crowd, so you can just do like 30, 35 if you want." And usually I would do about 45, 50. But I go, "Oh, dude, I would love that." And he goes, "You don't have to." And I go, "Dude, I love not doing comedy. I would love," and you just don't think of it being your fans at the late show because it's such like a quieter crowd and subdued, and it's just like, I don't know, people that are less just excited to be there. So you don't think that you have like such big fans there because the shows are so much worse. But then after the show on Friday, these 2 dudes come up to me and they're wearing shirts that they had made that say number 1 Flan O'Ryan and number 2 Flan O'Ryan, and they had made those shirts that day, and you could smell it. You could smell the Sharpie on them. And they were the coolest, nice, they're just these huge fans. I go, "Fuck, I didn't know you guys were in the..." If I know I have like big fans in the crowd, I would like to think I would give like maximum effort and at least give you a full set, at least a 45-minute set. But yeah, I felt bad. Don't ever come to the late show. They're just not as fun. People think they're gonna be drunker and the wilder show. Not at all. Maybe for like bigger comics that can draw, that the early show and late show are both sold out. Yeah, maybe then the late show will be more fun. But for someone like me, late shows just aren't gonna be as big of crowds, and they're gonna be just more tired and just less fun of shows. But I met these very, very nice guys, very cool guys. The next day, I went to the Nature and Science Center in Denver. I looked up what's the best museum to see in Denver, and it was the Nature and Science Center. I went there, a whole bunch of kids. Your toddler does not understand what it's looking at. It doesn't really need to. I think you probably could have done this at home. This woman was explaining to her baby toddler the formation of the Earth. The straight up, and there's like a movie playing about the formation of the Earth, and she goes, "Look, honey, yeah, 4 billion years. 4 billion years, and this baby is shitting its pants. Like, you don't need to be. Can you get out of the way and let me watch it? I did learn about a forest called the Tongass National Forest. That's how I'm gonna be saying it. Tongass. Yeah, the glacier bears are dying because of logging in the Tongass National Forest. That's the main thing I took away from my visit to the Nature and Science Center. And then on Saturday night, I go back for 2 more shows, and they were really good crowds. But dude, the girl who went before me was so way too good. And this happens to me sometimes, and it's like it's demoralizing. This girl was just so much funnier than me. Just a it's very snappy comic with a lot of crowd work, a lot of planned crowd work, and then like some unplanned, but just and super high energy, and just bing bang boom, and left very little last for old Rye. And I went up and did great. I did fine. I did very well. But compared to her was like, dude, she almost got like a standing ovation after her set. And then to go from that to me, I feel a little bit less than. I'm like, I feel like the vibe is like that girl should have gone last. You liked her way more than you liked me. And so that was just like, as good as my sets were, they were like fine. It just left that taste in my mouth. Like, damn, dude. I hate that feeling of headlining and being like, feeling apologetic for being like, yeah, sorry, I'm not as funny as the last girl. I get that. So that was just like a bit of a whatever. But then I met a guy on the Saturday show comes up, and this is the first guy who I have met that has done this. A guy comes up to me after the early show on Saturday and says, hey, dude. And he shows me his phone. He goes, you answered my fan question. I've been doing these fan question Fridays, which are a hit, bona fide hit. A lot of people were coming up this tour and saying that they liked him. And he goes, dude, you answered my question. I forget which question it was, but his name was Will from Vine. I go, dude, you're the first person I've met in person that you submitted a question. And then I went to a comedian's birthday party at some bar called the Dive In Denver. And so I was just meeting a shit ton of comics. I was like, yeah, I like to go out and meet some comics in the town and talk about comedy or whatever. And then this woman comes up and goes, excuse me, is your name Ryan? And I was like, yeah. She was not a comedian. She was just there after a wedding. She's with this group of people that are all in suits and dresses. I go, yeah. And she goes, oh my God, I got my husband a cameo from you at he loves you. He follows you on Instagram, and you did a cameo for him. You have to meet him. He's here. I cannot believe we're just in town for this wedding. You are at this bar. My husband's a huge fan. And she brings me over to her husband, and he's in a suit. He turns around. She goes, honey, look who this is. It's Ryan from, remember I got you that cameo? And he looks at me, and he goes, oh, my God, you're Ryan of Lan? Because my Instagram handle and all my other handles are Ryan O'Flan. Reason being, my name is Ryan O'Flanagan. So to keep it short, I can say Ryan O'Flan on socials. And this guy thinks that it says Ryan of Lan. I don't know if he thinks that's what my name is. He thinks I'm from a place called Lan. Ryan of Lan. And I was like, yeah, all right. That's how you think that's pronounced? And that was a cool bar. They have like boats in there. And then when they close down, they end quick. And they end with a boat horn. And I wouldn't recommend staying there past last call. Things get a little dicey. But all I was excited for was to wake up in the morning and get a nice hot breakfast at my sweet, sweet Denver hotel that I had. It was the Hampton Inn Suites, which goes from 6 to 10 a.m. on Sundays. And I woke up at 9 a.m. ready for breakfast, but I had a little more time. I was up late meeting the Ryan of Lan guy. Let me just take another snooze. Next thing you know, it's 9:58. And I go, fuck! When I'm staying at a hotel that has like good hot breakfast with actual eggs and stuff, and I miss that, Ooh, that's like all I care about. I need to get my money. I'm also so poor and so cheap. So I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, I can still make it. I throw on all my stuff, put on a hat, throw some pants on, run downstairs, get downstairs at like 10:03, and the seating area in this Hampton Inn in Denver is separate from the area where you get it's next to the food, but they close the doors to the food. They can close the doors off, close the food off with doors. And I went down there and I just went in one of the doors and they were like cleaning up and like they had put all the eggs and stuff on like a tray and they were gonna wheel them away. And I went in and I was like, I'm so sorry, I just woke up. Can I please have some eggs? And this woman was so nice. She was like, yeah, of course, yeah. And the plates were still out, so I was pathetically made myself a plate of breakfast that they were about to like go throw away. I was like, I just woke up. Then I drove to Steamboat Springs, Colorado for my final tour, my final show of the tour. And beautiful drive to Steamboat. Steamboat's a beautiful place. I went on a little hike there called Fish Creek Falls, a little waterfall. And it was raining a bit, just a little sprinkles and dinkles. And then, I had gotten my most anxiety-inducing part of the tour out of the way, which was the Denver weekend. I don't like doing 2 shows in a night. It's just a lot for me. I lose my voice. I go crazy. I don't know if I've already done this joke or not. It just sucks. And so I'm really just in a good mood driving a Steamboat. Final show. Get to Steamboat. Nice town. Very, very wealthy town. Ski town. Very much a ski town. It's the last show of the tour, and I'm so stoked. And I got this by a girl named Jennifer Grothwall who reached out to me, seeing that I was going to be in the area, and said, hey, you're going to be in Denver. You want to do a show in Steamboat while you're out here? So when someone reaches out to me to do a show, I feel a lot better than me begging people to let me do their shows. Even if this sucks, hey, it's not my fault. You reached out to me. You thought I was good. That's your own fault. But I get to the venue. It is none other than a small movie theater called the Wild Horse Cinema. I was pretty sure that's what it was. I couldn't really tell on the website what this venue was going to be. But it said theater, so I assumed it was like a movie theater or a small little whatever. I get there, and it's a fucking movie theater. They got popcorn going, and they're showing all the new movies. They're showing weapons and shit. And how fitting that I quit my movie theater job to go on this tour, and the very final show of this tour is at a movie theater. I walk in, they got popcorn going. I have a visceral reaction. I want to kill myself. They have, not only that, they have a Galactus bucket, which we were selling at Landmark Theater. A Galactus bucket is I believe Galactus is the villain in the Fantastic Four, if I'm not mistaken. And they have, at AMC, they sell Galactus buckets for $80, which is just a popcorn bucket. That's his head, and his eyes light up, and it's $80 goddamn dollars. If you want a Galactus bucket, don't go to AMC. Go to Landmark Theater. We have them for like $65. I don't know what they were selling them for at the Wild Horse, but probably like $10. But the show was like 60 or so people came, and it was awesome. And it was my final show of the tour, and I did a long-ass time. I did a full hour. I got to 35 minutes, and the crowd was just feeling it. It was just a fun time. The crowd was, they didn't seem, one guy did completely fall asleep. It was a lot of old people, elderly crowd there, and but they were sweet and they were laughing. One woman after the show was like, I appreciate that you're not so dirty, and not everything has to be so dirty. I go, yeah, you should tell the fucking Mormons in Boise that, because they thought I was very dirty. I'm really not. I swear when I talk, because I'm from Massachusetts. That's how we talk. But I'm not a dirty guy. I have a couple, like, shock value dirty jokes. Maybe, like, 1 or 2. But I normally just talk about being stupid. And I talk about my shitty old car that I just bought. And I call it a shitty old car. If you don't like swearing, that's going to be like, whoa, hey, he just said shitty. Yeah, it was just a joke about my car. It's not like dirty. My car is dirty. I actually just got back today, and my car is so filthy that it's dirtier than the car I just dropped off, my rental car that I just dropped off after driving for friggin' 2.5 weeks. Bugs and shit. All this LA is just so damn dusty. I get back, my car is caked in dirt and dust just from sitting in my enclosed parking garage. But the show was awesome. I did a full hour to close out this whole tour because there was no rules. Jennifer said I could do as much time as I want. And also she put me up in a hotel and gave me a welcome package that she had just made herself for my arrival. The sweetest woman. Just the sweetest woman. A welcome package. It has 2 hats. It has a 6, and this is all local Steamboat Springs, Colorado stuff, products. 2 Steamboat Springs hats. These beers made in Steamboat Springs Brewery, and a bunch of snacks and a nice card. Like, what? Just to be nice? And then I met at the show her husband and their families. They all are huge fans, and that's why she reached out. I have like big fans in Steamboat, and she saw that I was gonna be there, and she goes, "We got to get Ryan O'Flanian here. My family loves him." So yeah, they all like knew who I was. And they were awesome. And after the show, we went out on the town. Me and some people, some of the family, some of Jennifer. Jennifer dropped us off, and then she did not come in, but left us there, and went to this bar called Sun Pies, and it was cool. I did something I've done for the first time in my life, which is I stuck a dollar bill to the ceiling. There was dollar bills on the ceiling that people had been writing stuff on, messages. I wrote, "Are you joking my ass?" on a dollar bill and stuck it to the ceiling. So if you're in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, go try to find that. And I had to use a pen, so it was it's not super visible. But I did my best. And we're hanging out. They have a huge back area, which is usually full of people. But you know why it wasn't full of people? Well, it was Sunday night, first of all. But also, it was pretty chilly. It was pretty chilly. For the first time in 16 days, the temperature went below 94 degrees, and it was at night in Steamboat, got pretty chilly, and the people I was with were talking like, yeah, temperatures, the weather's starting to get cold now. Started to get cold? It's August 24th. They go, yeah, that's when the season, it starts to get cold now. What? It just started getting super hot in LA. It just started getting hot. August, September is the worst out here. But in Steamboat Springs, it's like fall. I guess that's what I kind of feel like that's what it was back home in Massachusetts. Like, I think of September as kind of fallish. Fall is starting to begin. Then October, it's like really begun. But not August 24th. And we were hanging out, and it was dark, and this guy was saying, if it was light out, you could see right over there across the horizon. There's a big mountain, and they have ramps that, you know, the Olympians train on when they do the skiing off those big-ass ramps. They have those in that mountain over there, and there's like 90-something Olympians that live here in Steamboat Springs, and this is where they train. And then get this, in the summer, they still use that. They just wear skis with wheels on them. Skis, let me say that again. Skis with wheels on them, and they go off those long-ass ramps where they fly, it looks like 3/4 of a mile down the mountain. And they do that on essentially very, very long rollerblades. So that's something I never have considered as a concept. Then the tour's over. The next day, all I have to do is drive from Steamboat Springs to Salt Lake City, Utah, and drop off my rental car. 6-7 hours of driving. Yeah, it was about 7 hours of driving, and tour is over. And there's just an inherent sadness kind of when tour is over, and it's that final. I always, at the beginning of every tour, I always think, God, I can't wait for this to be over. It's a lot of fun, but I do get like nervous, and anxious and drunk, Lord knows. So I'm like, it's going to be a nice, and I can't wait to get back to my stuff and be back in my apartment. As much fun as I do have, and I do have lots and lots of fun, I count down the days until it's over and all the scary stuff is done. But then when it's over, that's just like this very quiet kind of nothingness, emptiness. Shit, another tour's over. How many of these am I going to do in my life, you know? And so I drove from Steamboat all the way to Salt Lake City, and I woke up and it was pouring rain, driving rain. I have not felt rain, hard rain, in months. It has not rained in LA in a long time. I think in Colorado either, because they're having a lot of fires. So it was nice just on my final day waking up. I have no shows. I just have to drive to Salt Lake City and drop off my car. And it's pouring rain. It was so pleasant. The pitter patter. And I'm driving. After a couple hours, I see. And what's cool about these days is I can just pull over whenever I want. I don't have a show to get to, so I have no plans. Tour's over. I don't have to prep my set. I don't have to think of any damn local material. I don't have to think of any how hot is it. I just have to drive. Get there when I get there. And I'm driving and it's in the middle of nowhere. There's just no cars behind me or in front of me for miles. And I'm in Colorado and I see a point of interest in a mile. I thought, okay. I keep seeing signs on this trip for points of interest and I never pull over. So I'm like, I'm not interested. Not to be confused with Zone of Interest, which I recently tried to watch on a plane, and that movie sucks. Don't watch that movie if you like movies. Oh my God, what a boring movie. But stopped off at this point of interest, and it said right here is the site of the largest fire in Colorado history. It's like 15,000 acres. And it was started by a lightning bolt just a couple of weeks before I was born in July of 1988. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. You just look at this, just a vast, vast nothingness. And there's just one road going all the way that way. And then all the way that way. And there's no cars coming in either way. And it's just nothing but plains and mountains in every direction. And it's so quiet. It's so quiet. And I have this moment. I mean, I take a panoramic video. Wow, like I'm going to ever watch that. And I put my phone away, and I have this moment. I go, damn, dude. Tour is over. What if I fucking yell? What if I yell like Kevin Garnett right now? And I yelled, tour is over! I did it! And let me tell you, I did hold back a little bit. Because I was like, what if there's just a guy taking a shit somewhere? And there was no echo. Tour is over! I did not go as loud as I could. I did not. I was too embarrassed to go as loud as I could. I was like, what if I feel like someone can hear me? There's no way no one in the whole world can hear me right now. I'm outside. I'm in public, technically. But I screamed. I gave it a 7 out of 10 scream, which is so lame to scream tour is over at a 7 out of 10 because you're embarrassed. What if there's a hunter or a camper or something nearby? There wasn't. You could see for hundreds of miles in every direction, and there was no one around. Tour is over! I did it! And I did. I drove through Dinosaur, Colorado, which people kept telling me to go to. And yeah, it's a tiny little neighborhood, and everyone has dinosaurs in their yards. And then that's it. They don't have anything. I thought it was gonna be like a town. Nah, it's like a gas station and 6 houses. And then I got to the Salt Lake City area, and I went on a hike. I got there at 3:30, and I don't have to check in yet. I can kill some more time. So I went on a hike. I looked up some good hikes around Salt Lake City, and I went on a hike called to see a waterfall called Donut Falls, which is a water that goes through the rock and makes a shape like a donut. And this is quite a hike. You have to cross a log. You have to rappel down the side of a mountain with rope. Not the side of a mountain. You know what I mean. You got to rappel a little bit with a rope, a dirty little, tiny little, thin little rope. Then you get to see the Donut Falls, and it sucks. Don't go to Donut Falls. Not worth it. I did see the most beautiful drive of the whole drive, and that was Big Cottonwood Canyon in Utah. Utah is just phenomenal. Utah is prettier than Colorado. I'll say it, but yet it is ruined by these Mormons. I mean, what a waste. God, don't we just give our most beautiful land to our fucking weirdest religions? What a waste. Utah is so beautiful. Big Cottonwood Canyon. I'll post some pictures, videos when I post this on Instagram. Also, we're well over an hour and a half now. Sorry about that. I'll wrap it up. But God, Big Cottonwood Canyon is so damn cool. And it's wasted on these Mormons. Just don't be so weird. All you have to do is not be weird. And Utah would be so cool. Like, Colorado's cool. Maybe in some places a little bit racist, but that's everywhere in this damn country. A little conservative. Every place is damn conservative. Every place that's beautiful is friggin' conservative. Conservatives got the coolest land. But, hey. We got fucking Bonnaroo. And then I get to my hotel. I'm staying in a pretty shitty hotel to end the trip. And my room smells like Indian food. This is a Holiday Inn by the airport. Holiday Inn Airport West, Salt Lake City. If you stay in room 213, be advised your room smells like very bad Indian food. And I went in and there was no soap. I was going to take a shower. Got fully naked. My little penis was out. And there's no soap. They didn't have any soap. So I had to put all my clothes back on and go downstairs and go to the front desk and go, hey, do you have there's no soap in my room. And she looked at me like I was weird. And she goes, like body soap? No, dish soap. Give me some Palmolive, please. What are you? She looked at me like, I was like, yeah, I had to act it out. Yeah, soap, like a bar of soap. Do you have any of those? She goes, oh, yeah. And goes back and gives me 2 little bars of soap. No apology for it not being in the room. Hey, that's pretty crazy. There was no soap in the room, and then I asked for soap, and you didn't know what I was talking about. Did you not? Do you not normally put soap in the room at the Holiday Inn? Because you should. And that was it. Little night out in Salt Lake. God, I went to one bar where there was a woman playing music, and then after every song, I was the only one who would clap. These fucking Mormons, dude. No one was clapping. She was so talented. I gave her a tip. I gave her $5. 5 whole bucks. And I'm in this bar. It's like a swanky bar with like 40, 50 people in it. And after every song, this woman was playing the piano, and she had a beautiful voice. And then after every song, it was just me and maybe 1 or 2 other people clapping. I was like, get the fuck out of here, you fucking Mormons. Stop. You're so weird. You're so weird. And you don't know why. You simply don't know why you give everyone the damn heebie-jeebies, but I'll come at you. I was mean mugging these damn Mormons. Anyway, then the trip was over, and I returned my rental car, and the final count on my miles, I put 3,720 miles on this car. That is, driving from LA to New York is 2,700 miles. I put 3,700 miles on this damn car. So I went across the country and back, almost across the country, and then a third of the way back, which is crazy to think about. That's how far I drove on this tour. But I guess it's not that crazy if you think about, yeah, that took like 17 days. I drove across the country in 4 days when I moved out here. So yeah, I can easily do across the country 0.3 in 17 days. I guess it's not that crazy. But yeah, 3,720 miles on that car and 1 hour and 40 something minutes on episode 43 of Laser Show. Definitely my longest episode. Just didn't feel like cutting it into two. I just didn't. I'm sorry that this was so long. And I hope you enjoyed it. Next tour date's coming up. I'm going to be in Waverly, New York. Going to be in Philly. Going to be in D.C. Going to be in Morgantown, West Virginia. These are all some October shows. If anyone can get me on a show in New York, let me know. Going to be in New York for a wedding. And congratulations to Tom and Angela on their marriage. On their impending marriage. And yeah, check out my Instagram for pictures of like all these adventures. And let me know if you made it to the Elk. Pump up the volume and dance.
Pump up the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume, dance, dance. Real, yeah. Real, yeah. Real, yeah.